I don't know if we have any reflections or comments on what happened at town meeting, and perhaps that's a point at which we can start off.
Well, it was actually a pretty quiet town meeting, I thought. I mean, we had a few moments of drama. We had two petition articles that got some attention and took some time, but other than that, it was pretty uneventful. The second night looked like it was going to bring us into a third night, and all of a sudden it moved along pretty quickly, and we finished up. So I thought it was one of the more quiet town meetings, actually. If you took those two petition articles out, there wasn't much.
And in some ways, having a quiet town meeting, I think the fact that it was Kevin Mizigai's first annual town meeting as town manager, I think it's a tribute to the work, the preparation he did to get the warrant in good form for us, and also a reflection on how things really have gone in the last year, I think. No big bumps in the road. The board's planning to do some one-year evaluation of Mr. Mizigai's work shortly. The budget process went, I think, pretty smoothly through the season. And petition articles, I mean, actually just the volume of petition articles that the board and the town is seeing in the past few years is, it's really ramped up. And some folks, it's interesting to watch how people are reacting to that. Some people think it's wonderful that people are coming forward with the right to petition, and others have some objections, particularly when similar articles come back year after year after year. I don't know if we want to touch on that.
I thought it was fascinating that the revamping of our personnel policies and the budget occurred within 12 minutes.
Right.
There were I don't recall one question. Yes, it was very well laid out in the package. People took it seriously. People have known for a number of years that a number of key people are going to be retiring. Key positions would be becoming open. I think Kevin laid out a very thoughtful, careful plan. At first, people thought all of that change was job for job, that there would be umpteen more positions. You walk through, and it went through, and I think it was 12 minutes in all honesty. So I was fascinated by that. As to the initiative petitions, I just don't know why folks go that route. If they come in with an idea, I think the various boards and commissions have been willing to deal with them. I think some people at town meeting feel as though people are trying an end run when they come right to town meeting and they don't allow for the more formal. I mean, if we want to change a single bylaw, think of how many hearings it goes through and everything else. So I think what I've heard from people was they feel a little uncomfortable. They feel it's a short shrift of the legitimate process to talk about how things are done. And then you get to town meeting, and you certainly have a full and thorough vetting. I don't know why people continually bring back a couple of the same petitions every year or so. You would think if the outcome is rather clear, you might go with that outcome for at least a couple of years or change it. But again, that's the beauty of the petition article. Yourself and 9 friends, and off you go.
Right, right. I think it is. I think there is. I guess it's depending on the article and the subject matter. I think there are some that certainly would warrant more time, more discussion within the community than is allowed in the petition article process. And so there are cases, I think, where people may be justified in feeling that things just sort of were pushed through, if you will, without full debate. But as you said, that's the process. So,
Exactly.
And someone else could bring a petition article to change that. I mean, that's the way it goes. So.
I do enjoy that organic nature.
Yeah. It's pure citizen involvement.
Yeah, we've had that happen, or at least motions to reconsider after something went through. I think a lot of people who I've heard comment on it, and I like the petition process. I think when it's used correctly, I think it's good. But I think there's a lot of people who see town meeting as a business meeting and see some of these petition articles as are more social issues that I know some people actually left town meeting because they said this isn't what we're supposed to be doing. Now, whether or not, you can make the argument whether we should or we shouldn't, but there's some of that people aren't comfortable with that.
Yeah.
But the process works. Obviously, there are people comfortable with it because some of them have passed, some of them haven't.
Right. I
But,
also think you have some people that joined or ran for a town meeting because of the citizens petitions and the social nature of them, the way that we're taking up things that maybe are outside of the regular business as well.
Well, things like that are generally left for the Brookline town meeting to
Right.
decide nuclear policy and other such matters.
But I thought the way the styrofoam article worked and went, I thought was a really thorough vetting of the article. And that's one that I think we'll see back, even though it's a repeat, and people would be welcoming that to come back because it was more, I don't know that people voted, town meeting members I don't think voted against it on principle. They voted against it that it needed to be cleaned up a little bit and go through a little bit more of the process, go before the Board of Health. I know that was my personal feeling on it was, this is a great concept, but it needs to be refined. And so and that came forward from an adult, of course, but also had students behind it. And I think they should be, come back to us and come back to the town.
Ironically about that one, and styrofoam, I think it should be banned. But I still think things like the bag ban, styrofoam ban should be statewide. I just think they're more effective that way. But it was ironic that the entities, or the entity that would be the most affected was the school department.
Of course.
It was going to add a significant cost. People say not so significant, but adding 10, 20, 30 cents to the price of a meal, it was a legitimate concern of theirs. So I think there's some things that need to be addressed and see if there are ways to be able to get the cost down or at least make it cost neutral. I think that one's a step in the right direction. I really think the plastic bag one was a step in the right direction. I was kind of hoping the state was going to pick it up this year if Boston got involved in it, but they didn't. But you look at plastic bag thing a year after now.
It's second nature.
Nobody died.
Second nature. You just bring a bag.
I find more people not taking bags because I don't know if you noticed in the shops, people say, "Would you like a bag?" And a lot of people go, "No, I'm all set." And so you see a lot of people carrying out the one or two items that normally would have gone into a plastic bag probably. They're not. They're just carrying them out. They don't need it. So
I carried a stack
there's a
of clothes
positive
out the other
effect.
day.
Yeah, it's pretty neat the way it worked. I thought it was pretty quiet.
So we had 4 petition articles. One was to alter the manner in which water rates are approved, that we as water commissioners would need to bring our proposals to town meeting. That was defeated. That was I don't know if it was exactly the same, but we had seen that before. One was to take fluoride out of the public water supply, that the proponents, not because they had any change of heart, I think they decided that their proposal wasn't fully fleshed out. They requested that it be defeated, and they'll likely be back. The styrofoam, as we mentioned, and then also a committee to study electronic voting methods at town meeting. I do think it's important for people to, just for us to explain, for the annual town meeting, as some have already mentioned, you need 10 signatures from registered voters. That's all that is necessary to get a petition article on an annual town meeting warrant. To get on a special town meeting warrant, I forget, it's either 100 or 200 or a percentage of registered voters. It's a little higher bar, but it is a tribute to the town meeting form of government. Some folks I know speak, there are some folks who think we should convert to a city form of government. I don't think there's any petition mechanism at all similar to that. If we did go to a city, I think there might be some way it would require a townwide vote. But we're seeing more and more every year. And as Jim mentioned, some communities take on some large social questions. When I worked for the town of Princeton, I was doing some research, and I was looking through some old town meeting minutes, and I found that in the 70s, Princeton declared itself a nuclear-free zone. by town meeting action.
Work to date.
Yep, that's it.
That's right, very
That's right,
successful.
Very successful.
And I, it's interesting, I mean, the directions that towns decide to go in relative to social issues or more of a business meeting, as was said.